Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Office Bloke Aidan.
I'm Office Bloke Daz.
I'm Sophie.
And today we've got the MGM Grand Hotel disaster.
I'm back on with you guys as well.
Daz is back, yeah.
Nice to have you back.
Substitution in for Gainer. But yeah, I think this is just like a bit of a fire at MGM Grand. I didn't really know
fire.
this.
When they word it as hotel disaster
on a channel called Fascinating Horror. Yeah. Probably just a bit more than just a bit of a fire. Yeah. But anyway, I
don't know about this.
I didn't.
Something might spring my mind back.
The MGM Grand. Yeah, someone suggested this to me. To be fair, but the MGM Grand is a massive hotel, isn't it?
It's big for. I used to watch boxing there, and I've not physically watched it there, but I've watched it on TV where the boxing is.
It's a big venue, isn't it?
It's an iconic venue in Las Vegas.
Yeah. I'm ready to find out what happened there.
On the 21st of November 1980, a fire began on the first floor of the MGM Grand Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. Firefighters were quickly in attendance and through a coordinated effort were able to contain and then extinguish the flames before they could spread to rooms where guests were sleeping. Only a relatively small part of the hotel actually burned, but a flaw in the design of the building meant that 85 guests, many of whom were staying on floors completely untouched by flame, lost their lives. The MGM Grand Hotel and Casino was built by Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Studios. It was intended to be a luxurious resort, inspired by the hotel in one of their feature films. And, indeed, the Grand lived up to its name. The hotel was fitted with chandeliers and marble statues, and was home to one of the world's largest casinos, 25 bars, 8 restaurants, and its own private movie theatre, which would, of course, screen only MG...
No, 8 restaurants? Is it actually that big? 20? How many? 25 bars?
25, yeah, but in hotels of that magnitude, you normally get... In fact, if you go into these hotels I've been in before have done like 7 or 8 restaurants.
Really?
Yeah, there's one I go to in Tenerife that has like 7 or 8. It's only small, but it has like 7 or 8 restaurants.
I've only been to
No way. It's one that has
one restaurant hotel, I swear.
Yeah, you got to pay a little bit more to stay in the nice hotel. Right? You're staying in motels, and that restaurant you're going to is McDonald's outside.
Down the street.
You know what I mean?
GM films and features. The building housed a staggering 2,100 rooms, laid out across 26 floors. The lower floors were taken up with restaurants, a convention centre, and the massive Grand Casino, while the
You think about it, 2,100, did he say 2,100 rooms?
Yeah.
Right, you think about it, not always one person per room, but sometimes 2 people, sometimes a suite, 4 people maybe with kids.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, so you think about that and one restaurant.
Yeah, you don't have to eat at the hotel, though.
A convention centre. You got to have many bars. When you're hosting a convention centre, it's probably always, it's probably bringing in, thousands of people daily.
Especially when you've got a casino, you need people drinking.
Casinos as well, yeah.
That's the thing, yeah.
And you're in a tourist spot, which tourist spots like Las Vegas do a lot of conventions. There's probably conventions going on every day of the year, all the way through the year.
Yeah, people probably go there without even staying in a room.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So they might not be in that hotel. They might be in that hotel, but at a convention at another hotel.
Yeah.
And then they're using them bars and stuff. That's why you need so many bars, so many restaurants in hotels like this.
I'd love to go there.
I would.
majority of floors above that were dedicated to guest accommodation. When the fire began, it did so on the first floor of the building, in a restaurant called The Deli. Subsequent investigation would reveal that the cause of the initial fire was a faulty refrigerator. The flames, small at first, had time to grow considerably before they were discovered at around 7:10 a.m. Tim Connor, a maintenance worker at the hotel, stumbled across the flames as he was checking the deli for broken tiles. He immediately called hotel security and then set about trying to fight the fire with a handheld extinguisher. After being physically thrown to the ground twice by waves of air pressure and billowing smoke, though, Connor admitted defeat and began to assist with the evacuation. He made this decision just in time. Just minutes after the fire was discovered, flashover occurred. The flames, feeding on an influx of oxygen, swept through the restaurant and spread out across the casino floor, consuming the entire space in little more than 20 seconds.
What?
Guests in the casino had just a minute or two of warning. time which several of them used to gather up their chips and other belongings before running for the exit. While the building was fitted with a fire alarm system, it was disabled by the fire before it could be activated. As a backup, guests would have been given evacuation orders via a public address system or via their in-room telephones. But again, smoke forced staff to evacuate the telephone control room before this could be done. Guests in their rooms, therefore, mostly learned about the fire when they saw smoke billowing outside their windows, or when they heard shouting and commotion in the corridors outside their rooms. Some only realized something was amiss when helicopters, drawn by the huge plumes of smoke rising from the MGM Grand, started circling the building. A few lucky guests were able to evacuate before the smoke and fumes in the corridors became too thick to risk it. Those who did make a run for it were faced with challenging conditions. The lifts were out of action, their cables destroyed by the fire. The interior stairwells were designed to prevent guests sneaking from one floor to another. Guests could enter the stairwell from any floor, but could only exit the stairwell at ground level. With smoke permeating the air, guests were understandably nervous to lock themselves in the stairwell, and so, in many cases, propped open the stairwell door behind them so that they could flee back to their rooms if necessary. This had the unfortunate effect of allowing smoke to enter and fill the stairwells much quicker than it otherwise might. As for those who remained in their rooms, their prospects were equally stark. With the interior of the hotel filling with smoke, many looked to their windows for salvation. Several guests made makeshift ropes out of bedsheets or tried to clamber down the exterior of the building. Some were successful, managing to scramble down from their floor to a lower, less smoky floor from which they could make their escape. At least one guest, however, slipped and fell to their death. Seeing this, police on the ground shouted for people to stay put in their rooms and wait to be rescued. A small number of guests were rescued by construction workers, who risked their lives to travel up in a tiny electric lift and pull people out through windows. They made multiple journeys up and down the burning building until they'd inhaled too much smoke to continue. Other guests inside the hotel, desperately in need of air, broke their windows to allow more ventilation, only for smoke from outside to swirl in and begin suffocating them.
Wow.
The matter was made worse by helicopters swooping in to rescue people from the roof, with the rotors creating a downdraft that sent smoke rushing into broken windows. The fire was extinguished within a matter of hours, never having travelled beyond the first floor of the building. While the flames had remained contained, the smoke had not. It accumulated on the upper floors, and it was there, furthest from the flames, that the highest death toll was found. Many people died in their rooms, with some using lipstick to scribble goodbye messages on their mirrors. Some people survived by jamming towels around the edges of their doors and keeping their windows tightly sealed. Indeed, some survivors were totally unaware of the magnitude of the disaster. Firefighters painstakingly clearing the building one floor at a time encountered a couple dead in one another's arms in one room and a couple alive and drinking tequila to pass the time while they waited for rescue in the next. Many of the survivors from the disaster were evacuated by helicopter. It was a safer option, with smoke lingering in the lower parts of the building even after the flames had been extinguished. The dead were carried out as soon as it was possible to do so. They quickly filled up the available morgue space, and so refrigerated trucks were brought in to store the bodies until they could be identified. Treatment centers for the almost 650 injured were set up in other nearby casinos, spaces which were only reluctantly vacated by the hardcore gamblers who had remained in situ playing slot machines while the Grand burned across the street from them.
Anything for the gamble, eh?
Yeah, a lot of people wants to fix like that. It's not their problem. You know, they're in a different hotel or a different casino, and it's like, you know, everything's going on over there, and I'm over here. You know, and they're so obsessed with it. You know, especially the slot machine players in casinos are the hardcore.
Yeah. No, I don't trust any slot machines.
Yeah.
I only do stuff where it's like anything can happen, where it's like someone actually like a roulette wheel or like a when the dealer's doing cards or something an actual person rather than a machine.
Yeah, but the slots, they're the hardcore people that are going on there. You know, the big gamblers are in different rooms outside of the casino that you don't get invited to. But the slot machines are the pure hardcore. You know, pocket full of change and going in.
Clearly.
Yeah.
In total, 85 people died as a result of the MGM Grand Hotel and Casino fire.
That's a lot.
75 of them as a result of smoke inhalation. An investigation in the aftermath of the disaster revealed not just the initial cause of the fire, but also a host of regulatory failures. Fire safety inspectors had flagged up a number of serious issues with the building earlier in the year. At the time of the fire, only 1 in 5 of the problems identified had been addressed. There were, for example, no sprinklers in the casino area, or in the deli where the fire began. These areas had been designed to be open and occupied 24 hours a day, and so didn't legally have to have a sprinkler system, as it was reasoned that a fire would be noticed and extinguished as soon as it started. Over the years, though, the usage of these spaces had changed. The deli was no longer a 24-hour-a-day eatery, and yet no sprinklers had been installed. The situation had changed, but the systems in place had not. Furthermore, faulty seals in the hotel's air conditioning system allowed smoke to circulate throughout the entire building, rather than keeping it contained on one floor. The alarm system had also been out of date and inadequate for a building of the MGM Grand's size. These were all things which would not have been permitted in a more modern hotel. But the MGM Grand had been constructed at a time when standards were much more lax. Even after the fire, one governor insisted that it wasn't fair or practical to insist that older buildings be brought up to codes that didn't even exist when they were built. For a brief time, this was an issue around which there was a great deal of debate, until February next year, when a fire at the Las Vegas Hilton Hotel killed 8 people. The combined impact of the 2 tragedies was enough to overcome any opposition, and it was made a legal requirement that even older buildings conform to modern fire safety codes. The MGM Grand Hotel and Casino was rebuilt and refurbished, complete with state-of-the-art alarm systems. It exists to this day, welcoming hundreds of thousands of guests each year. Thanks to the changes which followed the disaster in 1980, hotel management feels justified in claiming it to be one of the safest hotels in the world.
Is that a completely new building that they made? Because it looks totally different.
I like the way it's built now, to be fair. It looks really nice.
It's iconic, isn't it? It's an iconic building in Las Vegas. But what you've got with hotels built nowadays compared to what they were built back in the 70s and 80s, or even I don't know when that first MGM was built.
Probably like
this happened in 80s. Could have been, and it's never been updated, sort of thing, for fire regulations and since it's been changed for purpose use or whatever. But I don't know. I mean, nowadays
I'm surprised
you can't
it was
get away.
that bad.
I can't get away. If I plug something into an extension that's plugged into an extension in here, office bloke Mike's into me going, "You can't do that." Starts unplugging everything.
Does it?
Yeah. So never try and plug an extension into an extension over here. Yeah.
Mike knows what he's talking about though.
He does.
Yeah, exactly.
He's all about the safety side of it, like coming in and going, right, that's it, you can't do that,
Yeah.
can't plug that in there. Yeah. But that's the
Keeps
importance
us
of it
all
all.
safe.
Turn all the switches off when you leave.
Yeah, that's the importance of it all though, so. Yeah.
No, because I literally am one of them people where like I end up like putting a candle on and then always falling asleep. Do it all the time.
Well, I have candles in the office. Us. No candles in the office, the band. Serious band.
I don't blame you, honestly. Because I wake up sometimes and think, how I've not burnt my flat down, I'll never know.
Gaina come in the office a few weeks ago with candles, and she's like, I'm just going to put, I went, you're not. I went, they're definitely not coming in here. Can't have them in the office. So she's
You
like,
never know.
She said, someone's cooking something, it smells, well, I went, I don't care. buy them diffusers or something like that, or spray
Yeah.
that don't you're not putting candles in. And
So
some
she went
paper.
and she went and bought like 6 massive bottles of spray.
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
Just like.
Yeah.
Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.
Bye.